Welcome back. And of course, we've been showing you images of the new Hindu temple that has opened up in Ayodhya. And we saw the Prime Minister Narendra Modi on the ground there inaugurating the temple. And our next guest is Ravi Agrawal, editor-in-chief of Foreign Policy magazine and also a former CNN New Delhi bureau chief, joins us now live from New York. Great to see you. So much happening. I mean, I have to say the images are pretty extraordinary. You see all these fireworks and, you know, really incredibly moving. But within all of this, it's very controversial. And importantly, Prime Minister Narendra Modi on the ground inaugurating this, opposition parties, you know, some of them showing how critical they are of this entire move because it's election year. And, you know, there's a sense that this is all about gaining political points.
It is. And this is something that Prime Minister Modi and his Bharatiya Janata Party, the BJP, have promised in their election manifesto, not once, but several times over. So in some senses, this is the fulfillment of a promise that his party has made decades ago, going back even to when the site at which this temple is being built, when it was a mosque in 1992, and it was destroyed at the time by a group of Hindu politicians, but also a giant mob. And, you know, all of that, I think, points to this year. Why now? A lot of it has to do with the elections that will be coming up in a few months' time, for which, by the way, Prime Minister Modi is an overwhelming favorite to win. But much of this is also about him solidifying his image in India as, someone who is devout, someone who is seen as someone who delivers on his promises. Remember, this is a very popular move. While it is being criticized by some in the opposition, it is being criticized by people who want to see India. This remains a move that is popular among a country that is 80% Hindu, and where Prime Minister Modi is quite popular.
Yeah, really good points there. I mean, this would propel him into a third term, an unprecedented third term. You mentioned his popularity. This, you know, many say is set to boost his popularity. But in the same breath, this is really opening up old wounds. And we saw the violence that broke out in 1992 when the mosque was destroyed and what that meant. Can you give me a sense of just, you know, what we're expecting down the line of this? And, you know, we're seeing these images, but what does it ultimately mean for Modi and his government and also the minorities?
You know, I think what it means, if you take the big picture sweep, is that India itself is changing. I think the India that Modi became prime minister in 2014 is a different India than the India that we look at in 2024. India has become more majoritarian. India has become more nationalist. India has become more pro-Hindu. India has discovered a sense of Hindu pride and India pride that it didn't quite have before. Some of this is partly economics. Some of it is also a realization of the power of nationalism and myth-making and the ability of this particular government, more than any other, to sort of point to India's history and point to the wrongs that they perceive India to have faced, first from centuries of rule by the Mughal Empire and then by the British Empire. And they see themselves as redressing many of these historic injustices. When you look at that backdrop, that framing that this government has been very good at putting forward, this is immensely popular. And so in that sense, the country itself has changed, where there is not that much protest anymore about, what is effectively a very majoritarian move that harms India's secularism. A lot of this is also linked to weakening of other pillars of democracy in India, whether it's the media. India has very low press freedom rankings. Whether it is the judiciary, which has also been weakened in recent years. A lot of that is linked to, in a sense, the project that this particular administration began 10 years ago. And again, remember, the backdrop to all of this is that despite these criticisms, which I am making and many other people have made, this is a government that is popular. This is a country whose economy is doing quite well. It's a bright spot in Asia and around the world in difficult times. So it's a complicated story.
Ravi, it absolutely is. And it's really great to have you on this with us today. Much appreciated. Ravi Agrawal there for us.